Well, let's fast forward here. That was August 2015. Let's hop right to August 2017. So a little over 2 years later was Nativeland 3. So you were 30 years old at the time of the release. This one is, they get progressively longer. The first one was 320. The second one was 407. Now we're at 555. One thing that really stood out to me with Nativeland 3 is Vish was always a really good filmer, but I feel like this is the time when I was like, okay, no, Vish is one of the best filmers in BMX. I think he's been constantly progressing, and just when I actually sat back and watched these videos back to back earlier today, I was like, okay, I think this is when he really kind of fell into his own and really embraced it. And that could just be my interpretation. He might disagree, but I think Vish really, really, really nailed it with this video, and this is a really beautiful piece. What do you remember about this time in your life?
Dude, first of all, I want to agree with you 100%. It's cool, like, working with Vish and seeing him as we're progressing as riders, he's progressing as a filmer. He's not like, it's cool when someone cares about what they do enough to like constantly get better at it instead of be like, well, I already know how to film, so I'm just going to keep doing it this way. It's like, no, he's like really into it. So it's badass that he cares that much to progress with the tricks and everything. But that time, I remember the filming of that one being, I really enjoyed it. I really had a good time. Calvin actually filmed a lot of that one as well. He probably filmed like a quarter of it ish. And I think Vish had a lot of things going on. Like he was filming and editing a lot for a lot of different projects. I think he might even worked at Fox at the time as well. So he had other full-time gigs. So it was like, I kind of had to work with who I could for this one. I was like, yeah, and I've always been a fan of Calvin's work and I love riding with him. So it worked out well. Like we just film each other. But yeah, that one, when I think about it, I think I'm very satisfied with that part. I feel really good about it to this day. And I remember it being a fun time filming it, other than having to land on my face really, really hard one time. But other than that, it was good.
So just like in the second Nativeland, you obviously drew the graphics in this, and it looks like they were put together as kind of a cool motion graphic.
Yeah. Yep. Vish did the motion graphic, and I just like kind of drew it and gave him the piece of paper.
So not that far into this, I believe is the clip you're talking about when you hit your face on the ground really hard. It looks like
Yes.
you're going to tires on a weird rail. How bad was that? Was this?
Dude,
Did you
really
go back and
sucked.
film it? Did you get the clip that day, or was that an ender?
So I got the trick earlier in the day. And when I say earlier in the day, I mean 10 minutes prior to that. I landed it, but I didn't like the way I did the nose. It was like a tire ride on a rail to drop nose, and I didn't get steep on the nose. And so I was like, oh, I want to do it again, And I actually I ride the Colt Vans tires regularly. That's like basically the only tire I've ridden for years. But the rails were like far enough apart to where the Colt tires would fit in, the Vans tires would fit in there, So I put AK tires on because they're a little bit fatter. And I was like, oh, I have big tires on. I shouldn't get stuck in there, But sure enough, I was just pushing so hard that my front wheel got stuck and it hit the L. And there's, I don't care who you are. There's no time to put your hands out in that situation and not hit your face. So, I hit my face really hard, like right above my eye. I got a big black eye, and I didn't get knocked out or anything. I definitely saw stars, but I think I chilled for like a week after that. I needed to rest up a little, but it sucked.
So another clip in this that stood out to me, especially after our conversation about the beginning clip of Nativeland 2, is you have a clip where you do a rail hop, super steezy rail hop. You three a bump in a parking lot. You do another rail hop, and then you do a bump to manual, the foot plant 180. It's another one of those kind of trails-esque clips at a street spot. Do you remember much about that clip? Was that the type of spot you talk about looking for?
Oh, absolutely. I remember the day I stumbled upon that. I was just out spot searching, and I was just like, I kind of made a wrong turn. I was going to another spot, and I pulled into the back of a shopping center, and then there was there was just this gate that was open, and I'm like, I'm going to drive through there, and there was a bunch of trash cans in the way. So I didn't really see the rail hops before I drove in. So I'm like, there's not going to be anything back here, but I just have to do it for peace of mind. Pull up, and I'm just blown away by these like perfect kickers over rail hops. And I just remember being like, dude, I gotta come back here as soon as I can, because I need to get a trick here. It's just such a cool looking spot, and it's what I'm always looking for, those types of setups. So me and Vish went back there, like I think maybe a week after I found it, and thankfully like the gate was open still, and there was no cars in the way, and it was all good. So we ended up getting that line. That day was a particularly special day filming that, because I think I got 4 tricks that day that were all in the video. And anybody that films video parts knows that if you get 4 tricks for a part in one day, that's like, it takes a month or more to get 4 tricks sometimes. So having that good of luck in a day, those are days you never forget, like I remember it happened in Nativeland 4 as well. It happened in 1. I don't think it happened in 2, but it's like, I remember those days like they were yesterday, because they're so, I don't know, they're so hard to have, you just don't have them that often. But yeah, that spot really just like was calling to me. I was just like, I got to get something here. So yeah, it was a good day.
I think it's probably like a golfer getting a hole-in-one. Really good golfers will get a few hole-in-ones here and there, but you never get multiple hole-in-ones in one day.
Exactly. That's exactly what it feels like. And since then, I've gone back to that spot at very, very least 25 times. And every single time, the gate's either locked or there's cars in the way, so you can't ride it. Because I had other tricks in mind for it too. But I went back for Nativeland 4, and like I said, couldn't even get in there. I went back when I was filming for when did I go? Shimmer. Went back and tried to get something for the Vans video for Shimmer, and we couldn't even get in there. Same thing. But yeah, so it was like, it's a unicorn spot. It was just worked out perfect that day, and since then it hasn't been hitting. So
we touched on it a little bit earlier, but this was kind of your first your first video with a lot of free coaster clips. There's a lot of backflashes in there. You're really putting it to good use versus Nativeland 2, where it was all cassette.
Yeah, for sure. I think by then I was like pretty comfortable with the free coaster. It took a while for me to really like get into it, and I think for a while I didn't like the way I looked rolling back with it. I was just like, dude, it just doesn't look powerful, you don't have that back crank. But by then I had felt pretty comfortable, and I'd started I guess trying to progress it in the ways that I could. So
let's talk about a couple standout clips. We had a conversation earlier about your rocky relationship with crank arm grinds, but you actually blessed us with another one in this video. This time we have kind of a Wally bump jump to crank arm grind down this brown kind of ledge rail setup here. What do you remember about this clip?
I had to go cut the knobs off of it to ride it. There was like these knobs on it, like 3 of them. So I had to go cut those off like a couple of days before. And I ended up like cutting them off and then gluing them back on so they didn't look like they were gone, so no one really like would notice. And I originally, the funny thing was, that wasn't in my mind to do. I wanted to do, and this clip is really funny that we're talking about this, because I forgot about it till just now. Originally I wanted to do a Wally to tire slide down the rail, like Wally to topside tire slide. And I went there and I did it, or I thought I did it, but Vish ended up bringing the footage back and watching it like a while after, and he's like, dude, I got some bad news for you. I'm like, what? He's like, dude, you did the Wally, but you didn't do the tire slide. Your tire hit the side of the rail. It didn't go on top. And we didn't notice it when we were watching it on the camera, but he noticed it when he put it on the computer. So that clip never saw the light of day because it didn't really happen. And I tried to go back and get it, and I couldn't get over top of it enough. It wasn't long enough to get my back wheel up there. So I was like, thought about Wally crank arm. I was like, dude, like that's another trick that I hadn't seen. If I had seen it, the only other person that I saw do it was like Eric Lichtenberger, one of my best friends. And always like motivated by his riding and his like unique style and approach. And I don't know, I just figured that would be, if there's any setup to do it on, like a real street spot, that would be it. So I started trying it, and it ended up not being as scary as I thought it would be once I actually got myself to commit to it, and it worked pretty quickly. But it's funny because, like, again, I'm not really a crank arm guy, but like sometimes things just jump out, even if they're not your expertise, and they end up working out. So it's pretty stoked on that one still.
Another one that really stood out to me when I first watched this video was a combo on a kinked rail. You do a double peg, and on the second, on the final down of the rail, you do over crook to 180. Do you remember what I'm talking about here? What do you remember about that clip?
Dude, that was like probably one of the most iconic days of BMX I've ever been a part of. So Dan Lacey, Rich Forn, gosh, so many people. That crew was insane. It was like Nathan, Garrett, Dan Lacey, Christian Regal. Like, it was like a BMX dream team crew that day. It was the same day Dan Lacey 360 that massive gap in his monster video and beyond his ender. And we were all so fired up they did that we're like, dude, we just got to keep riding, you know? So we ended up going to that kink trail, and it was down the street from that spot. And Nathan had gotten something on it, and I want to say a couple things had gone down on it, and it was just a good session. And I was like, dude, I'm like fired up. I want to try something, you know? And I don't even know if I've ever even done that trick before. And I definitely haven't done it since then. Like, nor would I even in any other case think to try a Predator with an over crook on a kink trail. It's like, that's not like, I'm not confident in that type of stuff. You know what I mean? Like that kind of rail stuff is scary to me, but it was just a perfect storm because there was so much motivation that day. And there was like so many cool people in such a small area that I'm like, dude, I'm too fired up. I got to try this. And it worked pretty quickly actually. And Rich Form filmed it really well. And I was honored to have him contribute, you know, some filming to this project. And it was just a special day for sure.
Another one that really stands out is the long ice pick down the yellow kinked rail. It's one hell of an ice pick grind. Do you remember much about that day?
I do. So that was either the second or third time I went to that rail to try and ice it. The first time, for some reason, that area of California gets so stinking windy in the middle of the day almost every day. Like, so windy that you can't balance. You know what I mean? You're just like, I'm going to jump on this rail and get blown off of it. So showed up. We tried riding it. I think I was with Nathan and Corey and Vish that day, and we just didn't have any luck because it was so windy. But then Vish and I had gone back to it like a month later, and we went early in the morning, so there wasn't any wind. So that was like one of those tricks where it was like we already had it planned out that we were just going to go get that. We're like, you know, nothing else on the agenda that day. Just show up early and try this as many times as it's going to take to get it, and then celebrate after. You know what I mean? So thankfully, the wind was calm, and we just showed up, and I just started trying it. And I think that one probably took like an hour or an hour and a half that day. And the most annoying part was you had to walk up those stairs every time you didn't make it. So it's like, dude, like, I don't want to walk up these stairs anymore. And Vish actually scared me because after I landed it and I rolled away, he played a joke on me. He was like, I rolled away, and then I'm like so relieved that I landed it. And then I'm coming back around. He's like, all right, dude, you got it. Next try for sure. Next try. And I'm like, what do you mean that was it? He's like, no, I'm just kidding, dude. And it made me doubt whether or not I actually did it or not, which was strange because I knew I did it. But it was just like, I was in like high adrenaline stage or whatever. And it just got confusing and he scared the hell out of me.
Well, you never know with ice picks. It could have been on camera. It could have looked like your front wheel touched or something, you know?
Exactly. That's what I was worried about. I was like, dude, I normally ice pretty high. I hope my front wheel didn't touch something, but yeah.
No, and I'm watching it back right now. It's not even close. Your front wheel's really high. I always really liked your ender in this, the double peg off the roof. What do you remember about this crazy double peg off the roof?
What I remember from that was we had already planned the premiere of the video for a week after we had filmed this, and I didn't have it yet. I didn't do the trick yet. And it lands into Beach Boulevard, which is like one of the most major streets in Southern California. It's like, what is it? 1, 2, 3. It's like at least 6 lanes wide, and there's always traffic on it, always cars. So we had to get up super early. I think we got there at like 7 a.m. to get that. And even that was almost too late. Because by the time I landed it, there was a lot of cars coming, you know, like it was, and you know, it's pretty nerve wracking. You're up on a roof. People are wondering what you're doing up there. There's all these cameras and all these people standing in the street. So you're drawing a crowd and cars are coming. So it's like, dude, it's just a lot of stuff going on. But the first time I did it, I grinded and I landed and I was leaning too far back. So I put my hand down and I think I broke my pinky actually, but I had to do it. I was like, Vish, I was like, I got like 5 minutes before this thing starts like really, really hurting. So I got to get back up on the roof and do it. I don't even care. So got back up there and it ended up working second try, thankfully. But it was scary because there's like those like electrical boxes and a pole and the ledge. And it's just like, when you were up there, it was like definitely messed with your mind. Cause you're like, I'm grinding onto a busy road over an electrical box with a pole. And I don't know if this thing's going to stick at the end and I'm just going to go somersaulting to flat. Like, but I'm just really thankful it worked out. And I was thankful, like, so Vish obviously came out and filmed it. Calvin came out and filmed it. Robbie came and stood in the street and blocked traffic for me. And a couple other friends were there to like make sure that like everything went smoothly. So, and
looks like
2 minutes after
Sean Ricani handed your bike up to you when you're up there.
Yeah. So, and 2 minutes after the cops showed up and they were like, dude, were you up on a roof? And I was like, yeah, I'm so sorry. And they're like, oh, it's all good. We just kept getting calls that you were on the roof. So we didn't know what was going on, but so it went smooth. And we celebrated with some waffles after. I do remember that.
You know, it's very impressive. It's very impressive to get a legitimate squad of BMX dudes together that early in the morning.
Oh, dude, 100%. That's why I'm so thankful. And it was a Sunday. So it's like, you know, it's hard enough on any other day, but like, you know, dudes might've been partying the night before or something, but everybody pulled through and showed up and we made it happen. So yeah, it's like you said, it's like, you know, I'm very thankful for that.